shots? Let's do it.
She's mad about her food. Are you buying her another shot?
What's she? You were mad about your food too?
Yeah, she just didn't like it.
Running a failing bar is bad, but fighting the one man who can save it? That's a whole new level of stupidity, and you're about to witness some of the wildest owner meltdowns in bar rescue history.
I am a great bar owner.
Look at him smiling. He thinks this is fun.
No, I don't.
If you think this is fun, wait till you see me tomorrow.
But the worst of them all, an owner so blinded by ego that he went toe-to-toe with Jon Taffer, screaming, denying, and digging his own grave with every word. But the real shocker? Jon didn't just fight back, he uncovered a truth so brutal, so humiliating that the owner had nowhere left to hide. Stick around to see the chaos unfold.
Catalyst to the failure here, and he proved it tonight. He's drunk, he's unreasonable, he's violent, and he's acting like a fool.
And if there were an award for most disastrous drunk owner, this guy would take home the gold. Before we dive into the absolute disaster that this bar became, let's take a moment to remember what it once was. The Fifth used to be the place to be. Lines out the door, packed nights, an electric atmosphere, and then the owner made one single decision that sent it all straight into the gutter. A decision he and every single one of his customers would live to regret.
1999, Jex decided to retire and sold the Fifth to his son, Brad.
I've watched my dad run the bar, so I thought I'd be able to pick it up really easy.
Now, let's see just how spectacularly this downfall played out. Jon didn't even need his recons to wait for the bartenders to mess up. The moment they walked in, the cracks in Brad's so-called management were already on full display.
You can tell by the glass that drink sucks. This is a pint glass. It's made for beer, not a cocktail. It's just not gonna work.
And what about the bartenders, the cook, and the rest of the staff? Had they been trained at all? Not even once. Brad didn't care enough to teach the cook how to store food properly, nor did he bother making sure his bartenders knew the absolute basics of mixology. And when they tried to explain why, their excuse was so ridiculous it would make your head spin.
I've worked here 16 years and never had anyone order one.
Never had someone order a gimlet.
I have never made one.
If you thought that was bad, buckle up. Because one bartender didn't even know how to make a simple whiskey sour. A whiskey sour. It doesn't get any more basic than that. The recon team was losing it, laughing at the sheer incompetence. But the bartender? Oh, she did not appreciate the mockery. What she did next was absolutely insane.
They're laughing at this place.
Yeah.
Pissing me off. Ridiculous.
Yep, she walked out, just straight up left in the middle of the shift. But the real kicker? Brad didn't even try to stop her. What was he doing during this meltdown? You're not gonna believe it. See for yourself.
My dad, he treats this place like a clubhouse.
While Brad focused on the party, the Fifth became overlooked.
And no, this wasn't a one-time thing for him. This was his everyday routine. Even the bartenders had had enough of him at this point.
When Brad is here, he drinks a lot. Seen tabs that are definitely worth $300 to $500 for sure.
Now, you'd think that with a bartender gone, Brad would finally snap out of whatever daze he was in and try to take control of the situation. I mean, that's his bar losing business, right? But nope, he didn't even notice she had left. Let that sink in.
Brad just had an employee walk out, and he didn't even notice.
What's up, Jack?
At this point, we were all wondering, was Brad blind? Was he just that out of touch? Maybe he couldn't see her leave. Maybe the bar wasn't busy enough to catch his attention. Neither excuse would be justified, but hey, Jon decided to give him one last benefit of the doubt. Maybe, just maybe, he'd redeem himself.
Okay, let's send in 2 more girls.
Hello, I'm glad you made it.
Yeah, no. Brad wasted no time proving us all dead wrong. The bar now had a decent number of customers, people actually waiting for drinks, and yet he remained completely oblivious to it all.
Ed still has no idea that these girls are even in this bar.
I'm getting already liquored up.
Okay, so guys, we got 4 girls.
Jon had seen enough to know exactly what kind of owner he was dealing with, but Jon wasn't done. Oh no, he wanted to really put Brad to the test. So he sent in 15 more customers, yes, 15. The bar was now packed, but Jon didn't stop there. What he did next, you won't believe it.
What does it take for him to even notice this? I'm gonna pull out 1 bartender. Okay, let's see what happens.
This was the make or break moment. Any bar owner with an ounce of sense would be racing to the floor, checking on customers, realizing their entire staff had abandoned ship. The bar was at full capacity, and yet the drinks weren't flowing. Any sane person would have noticed the problem.
Maybe he can help you.
Just kind of disappeared.
Finally, Brad looked up. He actually scanned the room. He took a moment. Maybe, just maybe, he was putting the pieces together. And then, he opened his mouth. And what he said was so hilariously painful, I nearly fell out of my chair.
And let's see what Brad does.
Oh. We could do a shot.
Oh, this was beyond ridiculous. Jon and his experts couldn't hold it in anymore. At this point, they were just having fun watching this slow-motion train wreck. And honestly, who could blame them? So why not keep pulling strings and see just how deep this pit of incompetence went?
One more bartender.
He's getting up. Where's he going? Let's follow Brad.
Now, get this, there wasn't a single bartender left behind the bar. None. But hey, at least they had a bar manager, right? Surely he could hold down the fort. Jon decided to let him join the party. What happened next was absolute madness.
I've told every bartender except for Devin. And he's the last one. You ready?
Yeah.
Pull the last one.
And just like that, there was not a single person behind the bar. Customers were sitting around, waiting, confused, drinks non-existent. And Brad still couldn't care less. No surprise there, but Jon? Oh, he was done playing games.
You're good. All right, well.
Every employee is gone.
Oh my gosh.
Any owner who doesn't notice that their bar is packed and there's no employees either doesn't care or is an idiot.
Jon was just about ready to call it a night, convinced that there was no salvaging this mess, when something unexpected happened.
His daughter just jumped behind the bar.
Yes.
Brad might have been completely oblivious, but his daughters, they saw the disaster from outside the bar. Without hesitation, they ran inside, trying to salvage whatever dignity was left. Finally, a sliver of hope. But Jon? Oh, he wasn't letting up yet.
Take the daughters out as well.
The viewers couldn't help but feel bad for Brad's daughters. Imagine watching yourself on TV, seeing your dad's incompetence broadcasted for the world to see. They seemed like genuinely good kids, and you knew they had the potential to turn this place around. But Jon wasn't done pulling people out. One by one, everyone involved in the bar was removed, except, of course, for Brad, because he had no clue what was going on. And what's worse than an oblivious owner? An owner who sees the disaster firsthand and chooses to ignore it. I mean, we've seen our fair share of negligent bar owners, dirty kitchens, drunk bartenders, terrible food, but Donna, the proud owner of Chaleen's, managed to take things to a whole new level. What happened under her watch? Simply jaw-dropping.
Do not let people do stupid.
And the worst part, she was having an absolute blast through it all. It was almost as if she were on a personal mission to run her bar into the ground, one mind-blowingly reckless decision at a time. You wouldn't fully grasp just how absurdly dangerous it all was until Jon pointed it out.
Food around with carbon monoxide. That engine is running. This guy's burning rubber inside the bar.
But hold on, this train wreck was only getting started. If you thought the chaos ended with a motorcycle revving through the bar, buckle up, because Jon was about to uncover even more madness happening just outside.
What happened? Holy.
What he saw next made the motorcycle stunt look like a minor inconvenience. No one could have prepared for the sheer insanity that was about to unfold.
What would have happened if that horse had broken their leg?
OHMYGODA horse. A full-sized horse casually trotting through the bar like it had reservations. Can you even fathom the kind of disaster that could have followed if that animal had lost control? Injuries, lawsuits, chaos? This was next level insanity. But the most unbelievable part? Donna's reaction to what she saw next.
Table.
The bar was now graced with the lovely, unmistakable scent of fresh horse manure. And instead of panicking or, I don't know, cleaning it up, Donna and her husband Scott found the entire situation absolutely hilarious. Not just funny, they thought it was the most badass cowboy thing they had ever witnessed. You think I'm joking? See for yourself.
Horse in the bar, everybody's rode a horse in the bar. You ride a horse in a bar when you're pissed, mother.
At this point, any rational person would assume something was deeply wrong with these two, right? Maybe a head injury? A severe case of denial? Close, but no. The real issue? Take a wild guess.
They want to have a good time.
Alcoholic owners. Classic. And not just one, both of them. These two were far more committed to getting wasted than actually running their bar. So guess who got stuck with the responsibilities? Their daughter, Alea. And trust me, she was not happy about it.
And they're drunk all the time.
Guess what? As an owner, you are allowed to drink.
Okay, just get out.
Jon wasn't even surprised at this point. Neglected bars always have the same root cause. Clueless, careless, perpetually intoxicated owners. And Donna and Scott, they were the ultimate case study.
I would
These owners always have a drink in their hands, don't they? But it's nobody else's. It's their own, unfortunately.
Nobody's TV haters.
And their drinking habits? Oh, this wasn't just a casual one-too-many situation. No, the sheer amount of alcohol they consumed on a daily basis, downright alarming. If you think I'm exaggerating, brace yourself.
It's not even 9 o'clock, Russell.
They were having the time of their lives, surrounded by a loyal army of equally wasted friends. This wasn't a bar, it was an exclusive club for drunks. New customers? Oh, they made sure that wasn't happening.
There's crap on the floor in the bar. I'm going in. I gotta go to work, man. I'll see you inside later. Good luck, John.
As soon as I started looking at this bar,
Jon had officially hit his breaking point. This wasn't just a failing bar, it was a circus of dysfunction, and the ringleaders were wasted beyond belief. Time to confront them and find out whether they were truly clueless or just too drunk to care. And Scott? Oh, you won't believe what he said.
You look as good in all of your pictures as you have as in all of your,
Thank you.
your shows.
You seem so intoxicated. I'm surprised you know even who the hell I am, to be honest with you.
While Scott attempted to butter up Taffer with his usual nonsense, Donna was completely blindsided by his arrival. She hadn't expected him at all. Jon quickly realized there was no point trying to reason with either of them, so he turned to Aaliyah for answers. What happened next? Even he wasn't ready for it.
So basically,
Bank came in and said, because you're in default of your property taxes, we have the right to foreclose.
Instead of acknowledging reality, Donna and Scott launched into a dramatic sob story about how life had been so unfair to them, completely ignoring the fact that their disaster was entirely self-inflicted. Too drunk to grasp reality, they just kept rambling.
it says if you don't pay your taxes, I will
You
foreclose.
guys are really gonna do this?
I will.
Yes.
Jon had had enough. Trying to talk sense into them felt like explaining taxes to a toddler, completely useless. But props to him for keeping his composure, while these two acted like absolute lunatics.
You can tell me to shut up and I will listen.
Thank you. How in debt are you?
I might not.
Look at me. Try to concentrate,
Okay.
At this point, it was beyond absurd. If I didn't know better, I'd think Donna and Scott believed they were running a thriving business instead of drowning in $180,000 worth of debt.
I mean, I'm doing the best I can do.
You're not doing
I
the
got
best
no
of it.
money.
You're sitting before me drunk. How many nights a week do they drink here?
Aaliyah, meanwhile, sat there, her face burning with embarrassment, just like the rest of us watching. Meanwhile, Scott took the opportunity to sing his own praises as a hard-working owner. And Donna? Honestly, no one had a clue what she was trying to accomplish, except pushing Jon closer to completely losing it.
That's why we're asking you.
You're not fighting a battle. You're giving up. You're drinking and giving up.
Oh god, someone please tape her mouth shut. Even through the screen, you could feel Jon's patience snapping. And what happened next? Oh, it was so satisfying.
Don't talk.
I will listen to you.
Don't talk.
Finally, a moment of silence. With both of them stunned into temporary submission, Jon had a window to drill some much-needed sense into them. But if you thought this was their wake-up call, think again. Donna had one last ridiculous trick up her sleeve.
Frustrating conversation with a bar owner I've ever had. You can't reason with somebody when they're drunk.
He's the drunk one.
I'm the drunk.
But guess what? Brad from the 5th might not have been as blatantly disrespectful as the others, but that didn't make him any better. If anything, he was even more frustrating for Jon to deal with. After running off every single employee, Brad left Jon absolutely furious. Shocked even. Jon had seen a lot, but this was a whole new level of incompetence.
And Brad is sitting on his butt in a booth, oblivious to all of this. You know what? I'm gonna go sit with him.
Things were about to get real at the 5th, and everyone could feel it. You could practically hear the collective gulp from the remaining staff when Jon walked through that door. The tension? Palpable. At least Brad was aware enough to notice Jon walking in, otherwise I might have declared the man legally blind. He tried to greet Jon politely, but let's be honest, nothing was going to save him from the wrath coming his way. But first, aren't you curious why he didn't do a thing when his bartender's up and left? Oh, just wait until you hear his logic.
Oh, I thought they were going to come back in.
So if they never come back, you're just gonna sit here all night?
Whoa. So he sat there all night watching them leave and just didn't care enough to do anything about it? Seriously? There were customers sitting there waiting to be served and he just let it happen. But oh, don't worry, he had an explanation up his sleeve.
I can't serve them because I've been drinking.
If you were drinking, could you serve them?
Yes.
You know how to make the drinks?
Well, at least he was aware enough to recognize the problem, but honestly, I couldn't trust this guy. If he was this relaxed about his staff abandoning the place, how could anyone expect him to actually run a bar? And then Jon asked him a question that revealed something even worse.
Do you know how to use the cash register?
No.
Turns out, drinking wasn't Brad's only issue. The man had no idea how to do anything at all, not even when he was sober, and the way he casually admitted it, mind-blowing. Oh, and did I mention he had been working at this bar for over 20 years? With his father? Speaking of whom, Jon was suddenly reminded of something that made him even angrier.
You're sitting on your ass while your father's legacy gets destroyed.
At this point, it was painfully clear. This bar meant nothing to Brad. His beer glass held more value to him than the entire establishment. Was he just completely clueless? Or was he simply a terrible owner and an even worse son? Either way, Jon wasn't about to let this slide.
Because the guy I'm sitting with right now, I ain't gonna do shit for. If you don't get off your ass, I ain't gonna get off mine.
So Jon decided to leave him to clean up his own mess, both figuratively and literally. But just as Jon was about to walk out, he glanced back and was absolutely stunned by what Brad was doing.
I am a great bar owner.
Look at him smiling. He thinks this is fun.
No, I don't.
If you think this is fun, wait till you see me tomorrow.
The viewers had had enough. They couldn't understand why Jon was even wasting his time trying to help this guy. Brad clearly didn't care, and it showed in every expression, every shrug, every lazy move he made. Honestly, the audience was convinced he was drunk throughout the entire filming. Jon should have just pulled out his trusty breathalyzer and put an end to this circus right then and there. But Jon wasn't ready to give up just yet. He decided to give Brad one last shot at proving himself. So what did he do? He packed the bar with even more customers, hoping the sheer chaos of a full house would jolt Brad back to reality. But the actual reality? It was much, much worse.
Holy shit.
He just stands around like a deer in headlights.
Oh god. The look on Brad's face? Priceless. He looked like a deer caught in headlights, completely paralyzed by the very concept of running a bar. I couldn't stop laughing. Should I have felt bad for him? Maybe. But honestly, the real victims here were the poor customers, just trying to get a drink. And what was Brad doing? Oh, you won't believe it.
Why is he taking food orders or doing something?
We might be a minute.
Jon had had enough. He stepped in himself, took the reins, and started running the bar like a kindergarten teacher forcing a kid to finish his homework.
I thought you were coming to take our order.
Nope.
Jump in, do anything.
And finally, Brad snapped out of it and started working, flying orders in and out of the kitchen. You don't buy it, do you? Well, you shouldn't. I'm just kidding. This guy's engine wasn't even turning over.
Just because there's so many people at once, you know, and we just can't keep up with it.
Well, yeah, the fifth was a total failure, and we can thank the owner for that disaster. And if you're still holding on to hope with chillins, bless your optimistic soul, but let me be the first to tell you, you won't believe how much worse it gets.
Me sideways, bend me like a pretzel. I feel like my vagina is a pretzel.
I can't stand her. She's rude. She's obnoxious.
Meet Yum Yum. Yes, that was the bartender's actual name. Unfortunately, I can't say the same enthusiasm applied to the food being served at this establishment. Jon's reaction to the kitchen? Let's just say his eyes nearly popped right out of his head.
So it's not real barbecue, it's barbecue flavored food. The sign on this building says badass barbecue.
Now, normally, I'd cut a place some slack if the owners were this far gone. After all, if they don't care, why should we expect their bar to be a Michelin star masterpiece? But here's the kicker. This bar had the audacity to boldly claim they served real barbecue.
Colleen's badass barbecue steakhouse.
Well, I think the place certainly doesn't look badass.
And what did that so-called real BBQ turn out to be? Chicken slathered in store-bought BBQ sauce. A sad, soggy, lifeless excuse for a meal. So, naturally, when Jon's recon took a bite, she nearly lost her lunch right then and there. And as if that wasn't bad enough, a customer sitting next to her dropped a bombshell that made everything even worse.
Last night, I had to do the same thing. I had to sit it back and get something else. How's everything tasting?
It's very heavily.
Now, Donna was already blackout drunk at this point, so I wasn't expecting her to notice or care, but shockingly, she did. I know, right? A miracle. But before you start thinking she might redeem herself, just wait until you hear her brilliant solution. Prepare to pick your jaw off the floor.
Wait a minute, buy him some shots. Let's do it.
You're mad about her food, or are you buying her another shot?
What's she need? You were mad about your food too? Yeah.
Jon's recon wasn't the only one repulsed by the food. Other customers were just as disgusted, ready to walk out. But Donna? Oh, she had a plan. And let me tell you, her idea was so mind-blowingly stupid that it only pushed customers further toward leaving.
Oh, I don't need one. This is really not a good way to fix our food, but let's have fun with it.
Jesus.
And get this, Jon's recon explicitly told Donna she was the designated driver and could not drink. But did that stop Donna from offering her alcohol to make up for the food? Of course not. Talk about negligence on a whole new level, not just as a bar owner, but as a human being.
I really just wanted to sit down, maybe have a glass of water, not really a hard liquor drink, just a little too much for me to handle, especially since I told them I was driving.
But this was just the tip of the iceberg. What happened after Jon left and the show aired? Oh, it was far worse than anyone could have imagined. Scott sold his share of the bar to Alea in 2016 after Donna left him due to his drinking. But that was just the beginning. In 2021, Scott was charged with multiple felonies, including DUI. He was found wandering 2 miles from a crash site and was ultimately convicted of failing to remain at the scene of an accident involving death, vehicular homicide. Absolutely chilling. Viewers were stunned. This was devastating and deeply disappointing. Many had rooted for this family, hoping bar rescue would be their wake-up call, but Scott let his demons win, leaving lasting damage in his way. Truly, he may be the worst bar owner in the history of bar rescue. This was absolute madness. At least Donna stepped up when it mattered most, or did she? A Redditor uncovered an article featuring Donna and Alea in a Phoenix newspaper, and it revealed something wild. According to them, Donna's drinking problem was something the producers exaggerated for drama, and when they say they, we all know they mean the showrunners, right? The mother-daughter duo claimed that Donna never actually drank at work before the show. Sure, Scott was always drinking, but he was more of a reclusive drunk, not exactly primetime entertainment. The producers allegedly ran with this angle as a way to wake Scott up and push him toward getting help, but in the end, it didn't work. Whoa, that's seriously messed up, even if they had good intentions. Because let's be real, making someone look like a total drunk when they weren't, that's crossing a line. What do you think? Were the producers spinning the story, or was Donna just trying to save face? Let me know in the comments. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the absolute worst of the worst. Let's dive into the disaster that is Mac and Chester's SRO. The bar had a promising start, but owner Scott soon realized he had made a colossal mistake by going into business with his longtime friend Todd. He was a man who saw the bar not as a business, but as his personal playground, drink permanently in hand.
Heads up, ladies.
Todd's tab? Through the roof, buying rounds, freeloading, you name it. And no, this wasn't an occasional slip-up, this was his daily routine. Buckle up, folks, the chaos is just getting started.
Here, he had a drink in his hand, gave away a lot of things to his friends. Seemed like I was plugging away and he was kind of having fun.
In what seemed like a stroke of genius at first, Todd roped his wife into the business. She did it all, balancing the books, scrubbing the floors, and most importantly, attempting the impossible, keeping Todd from turning the place into a full-blown, booze-fueled circus.
Art all the nonsense.
Scott and Elise had had enough. Thanks to Todd, the bar wasn't just in a bad neighborhood, it had become the bad neighborhood. One more drunken night, and it might have needed its own zip code.
Motorcycles, I get wrapped up in that.
It's a badass biker bar.
Bikers here are pretty disrespectful.
Todd took over running the bar and restaurant, and as expected, it was a train wreck. Meanwhile, Scott managed the thriving softball business outside. But Todd, never one to leave well enough alone, had to stick his fingers into that pie too. And guess what? The results were predictably catastrophic. With Todd's crew invading the space, the paying customers vanished like last call. Now, the bar was a ghost town, occupied solely by Todd, his freeloading entourage, and the lingering smell of failure. Classic Todd.
Boycott Todd Bar because he just sits up there and drinks all day and doesn't care, doesn't give a
And it wasn't just the business crumbling, Todd's marriage was in free fall too. Once the picture of a loving couple, he and Elise were now hanging on by a thread. The foundation of their relationship was cracking under the weight of Todd's reckless behavior, and everything was spiraling completely out of control.
Work my ass up all night. You drink and you tell me to stop.
You know what? Shut the up.
Jon Taffer knew exactly what needed to be done. He brought Elise into his RV for a front row seat to the chaos Todd had unleashed. Exhibit A. Todd wasn't just sinking his own business, he was dragging Scott's successful enterprise down with him, because nothing screams great friend like ruining everything in sight.
So the behavior of the 6 bikers inside will chase away the 60.
Yeah.
Who after a game would have a couple of beers with them.
And just when you thought things couldn't get worse, Todd and his biker buddies took the madness outside. In the blink of an eye, the situation escalated from bad to full-blown catastrophe. You wouldn't believe how fast it all went downhill.
What's going on right now?
They're burning the picnic table.
Hey, Benji, get her going.
Viewers watched in sheer disbelief as Todd ran around trashing his own bar like a lunatic. What an idiot, was the collective sentiment. This wasn't just reckless, it was downright embarrassing. He'd already destroyed the inside, and now he was taking his rampage outside. And the worst part? He knew people were watching and enjoying the spectacle, but that only fueled his antics. What kind of fool revels in their own downfall? A massive one, in my opinion. Not only did he obliterate his own business, but he also gave bikers a bad name. If a group of real, respectable bikers had shown up to teach him a lesson in dignity, it would have been well deserved. Todd was practically setting fire to his own bar, something never before seen in bar rescue history. Meanwhile, Scott just stood there, watching his business go up in flames, quite literally. But what could he do? Just stand, sigh, and pray for a miracle.
Scott, you to you, you to your family. That's what this guy is doing.
Heads up! We have people riding through.
And because burning a table wasn't unhinged enough, Todd decided to up the ante. What happened next? Oh, just wait. It's a level of chaos you won't see coming. Strap in.
Do a burnout on the table.
Do it! Do it!
Picture this. People trying to play softball while the bar next door was choking on smoke. And Scott? He was absolutely livid. Honestly, can you blame him? Todd was a one-man wrecking crew, and the damage was spreading fast.
Who would want to bring their family or even just some of these ball players? You know, who wants to go in there and into that mess?
Meanwhile, inside, Elise was in tears. Her marriage, her business, her life, it was all crumbling in front of her eyes. And where was Todd? Outside, behaving like an overgrown toddler throwing a tantrum. That's when Jon decided enough was enough. Time for a showdown.
And applaud. And we're watching you act like a child, Todd.
But would it even make a difference? Viewers weren't convinced, because let's be real, Todd would probably be back to his usual nonsense in a few weeks, wrecking his bar, his marriage, and anything else in his path. The sad reality? He didn't seem to care about his wife or kids. And the overwhelming consensus? Elise needed to run, not walk, straight to a divorce lawyer. Because Todd? He wasn't changing anytime soon. Because Todd's reaction, so disrespectful, it sent Jon over the edge. This was the breaking point.
You're smiling.
No, I'm not.
New attitude.
No.
Todd was smiling while his wife, the mother of his 6 kids, was in tears. Jon just stood there, staring, fully absorbing how utterly clueless Todd was. And of course, Jon had to call him out.
$6,000 a month, right? Yep. So, what the are you doing? Do you think that you can make money by burning your own furniture?
The burning table was still right there. A $200 mistake, money that his wife and kids desperately needed. It was like Todd had set fire to his own family's future. Jon hoped he'd snap out of it, but instead, he made everything 10 times worse. Because of course he did. This was a full-blown train wreck.
Shut up and listen to me. No, you listen to me. You're your family.
Jon wasn't backing down. Todd's chance to talk? Gone. This was his moment to shut up and listen. But did he? Absolutely not. What he did next was so outrageous, it became one of the most jaw-dropping moments in bar rescue history. Unbelievable.
Because you look at me. You're a idiot. Really? Yes, because you're loves you.
And let's not forget, Todd had just tried to attack him. That was it. Jon had enough. He stood up, walked out, and made one thing clear. He wasn't putting up with Todd's nonsense for another second. This was over.
Catalyst to the failure here, and he proved it tonight. He's drunk, he's unreasonable, he's violent, and he's acting like a fool.
But here's the real shocker. Despite all of this, Todd didn't step down from Mac and Chester's. He stayed with the bar, and not only did the bar survive, but it actually thrived. Since appearing on Bar Rescue, the place has seen an astounding revival, increasing sales by 35%, and jumping from an average 2 to 3 star rating on Yelp to an impressive 4.3. But here's where things take a darker turn. Todd's name has popped up in numerous incriminating articles. In 2013, a Minneapolis paper reported that he was accused of embezzlement by a Teamsters union, and in 2012, a since-deleted article claimed he ran a fake benefit campaign to boost sales. Well, some people never change. Old habits die hard, and in Todd's case, it looks like the devil's still got a firm grip on him. And that's a wrap on times when Jon Taffer fights owners on Bar Rescue, the ones who refused to listen, ignored reality, and somehow thought they knew better than Jon Taffer. Spoiler alert, they did not. Now, here's a question. If you had to be trapped in a failing bar with one of these owners, who do you think would drive you insane the fastest? Let me know in the comments. And if you love watching Taffer lose his mind, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Oh, and if you think this was bad, just wait until you see this next video. Trust me, it's even crazier.
Trying to breathe life back into a historic country inn.
Yeah, that smells.
The hotel's arrogant owner